if right now, like I checked the goals that you do have, the goals that you've written for this year, I'm 100% sure I'm not gonna find love there. I'm not gonna find peace there. Like if it's love that I'm gonna find, it's gonna be to get a lover, and it's not gonna be just love for yourself. Like how many times do we sit and put emotions as our goal rather than things? Because remember, we're spiritual beings in a physical experience, but how many times do we put emotions ahead of things that we want? The reason why I'm saying this, you can even relate with your life. There are so many things that you've been able to attract, manifest in your life, and then after a week you're like, I thought it was awesome and everything before I had it, now I have it and it's just average. How many times? Like billions of times. So you want to say, I'd love to attract 100,000 in the next 1 month, and I attract it. I have it, I celebrated, I've enjoyed it, I have it. What happens after a week? I'm going to set another goal, and I'm going to attract again the same money. So do you want to mean that my life is just going to be driven by this cycle of stuff, things, people, and events? That's the worst life, and it's the life known as the matrix life. You're just chasing things that you don't even know, things that don't stay in your well-being. They're just there. Like right now you have the house that some years you wanted, you have a partner that some months you wanted, you have a job that you cried for years, but you're still feeling a need for something different. That's how the physical is. It never satisfies us. It just gives us that joy, a spark of joy. But when it comes to happiness, it's a long-term thing. We have to chase things that are going to bring that happiness, And if you look around, most people are depressed. Most people are in these anger, bitterness, stress, it's because we are chasing the physical and they never feel that void, The moment you're going to shift from the physical to the spiritual, or from the physical to the energy side of things, and say, for example, my goal this year is peace. My goal this year is unconditional love. Not to be loved by people, but to be loved by me. Not to be accepted by people, but accepted by me. I've been through all this trauma, I've done all these stupid things, but I can still love myself. If we can start making energy or the emotional side of things our target, our goals, our life can tremendously shift. Our life can just change. All these things that we wanted will just be flowing easily and effortlessly. Why? Because you're now more of the emotions, because they remember the emotions. They're the ones that brings the things that you want. They're the magnetic charge. If we focus on them, when I just say I'd love to have this amount of money, it's gonna come. Why? Because I'm already feeling that emotion, so it's gonna be easy. But if I'm going for the stuff first, I want this car, I have to force myself to feel those emotions for me to be able to get it. And it's gonna take longer, a lot of effort. It's what is known as the Newtonian model of reality, It's just me, I'm chasing, I'm forcing myself into stuff, But if you can start today, just say to yourself, from now henceforth, my goal is peace. My goal is unconditional love. My goal is happiness, just genuine happiness. If we can make that our goal, life is going to be different. Even if you argue with your boss, calm yourself down and say, my goal is peace. And I'm going to sit down, analyze the situation, and apologize because I don't want to have an argument with him or her or something. I want peace. If there's a disagreement between you and your parents or people, just creating peace and focusing on the emotional side, your life is going to be better, and you're not going to be in this rat race chasing of stuff, because the things that we want is basically for the emotions. You want a bigger house because of the freedom or the peace or the joy that it gives you. But what if you feel those emotions? You're not going to be bothered even if you're not able to get that thing. So emotions, this is the key. And this is what now spiritually is all about. It's all about feeling the emotions, no matter what. Like just before going to bed, just sitting, and just appreciating that you're alive and feel the emotions of joy, just loving yourself, regardless of the goals, the things that you have and so on, and just loving yourself, soaking yourself in love emotions and feeling them. If you can do that frequently, even some illness that we do have, they're going to start disappearing. Why? Because when we live from the heart outward, we are more at peace with everything. We are more empathetic. We are more attuned with the life cycle, how life is supposed to be working. Life is all about what you feel is what is brought to you. So if I'm feeling unconditional love all the time, the things that are going to come my way are going to be more and more of unconditional love, and if it's genuine, even the things, the people that are going to come my way are going to be genuine. But the reason why you have so many fake things, that are coming to elevate our emotions and lie to us that we're happy, that we're in love, is because even ourselves, our loving of ourselves is fake. Like you love yourself when you get paid, you love yourself when you get promoted, you love yourself when you achieve things. But what about the other time? You're cursing yourself, you're beating yourself, you're calling yourself fat, not good enough, slow, I didn't, how can this person do this to me? Like you're always blaming yourself. But when you move from that environment and we start loving ourselves, even when you're messing up, our life is going to be different. And that's how you're supposed to live. The connections from your heart to your brain, the nerve fiber, they are more than from the brain to your heart. They are more, And our heart, when we were conceived, the heart is, how can I say? The heart develops fast before the brain. Like 3 weeks, the heart is already working. The brain takes some other weeks before it starts. That's after we've been conceived. So if that's the case, it means the heart is a very powerful tool, a very, very powerful tool. If we can learn to live from the heart, everything in life has to comply with how we feel. And we're not going to be now controlled by the physical world. We're going to be controlling the physical world. How? By just having this positive energy. The heart is a magnet, so it brings things to us. So whenever I'm going to put my mind into something, I don't have to struggle. It's going to come. Why? Because the emotions that have consumed me are elevated emotions. So everything that I want that is of elevated emotions has to come my way. That's the best way of living, living from the heart and loving ourselves regardless of whatever happens.